quick video, and you find us today on a very breezy Filey seafront over in East Yorkshire. Now, what I want to chat to you about today is the fact that more and more I'm finding my go-to setups are getting more basic, you might say. I'm aiming more towards the lightweight setups. Now, today, what I've got with me is my 12-100 on the O1 Mark II on a strap that I'm just wearing across my shoulder. And on my other side, I have got just a little side bag. Literally, all I've got the side bag for is just to carry the pouch for the Osmo that I'm filming you on right now. And when I'm done with the camera, I can drop it in. So it's all about going lightweight and essentially having minimal impact. I just want to go into some of the reasons why that, for me, is very important and how I'm sort of working my way around it. So, obviously it's a very bright day, so there's not really a lot we can do as far as the coastal stuff goes. It's also very windy, which also makes it slightly interesting. So, basically we're doing just having a wander along. I thought, right, I'll have a quick chat to you about why I'm doing more and more lightweight stuff. Bear in mind I do still have big wires and stuff like that, so that's something slightly different. I'm working on that side of it, but yeah, let's have a bit of a chat about why I do the lightweight and why I think it's something you could try. So, a little bit of history. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, a bit of an incident at work where I essentially tore some of my tendons in my shoulders. Basically, that means that now any of the sort of heavy duty stuff I end up doing is like heavy lifting, holding my hands out too long, reaching up for too long, stuff like that. I just end up absolutely agony. I lose feeling in my hands, and it's just not fun. So at the time, I was using the Canon full frame system, so the 5D Mark IV and its associated lenses for wildlife and landscape. That left me really in pain every time I was using it, and it just wasn't fun at all. Especially on that way, you're having to lump a tripod around as well. Really wasn't what I was after. So that was the initial draw for me to go towards moving sort of into the Mark IV third system. Because I've been told, it's a lightweight system, the lenses are smaller, it's a lot lighter. Strangely enough, it's one of the things that James Popsis did years and years ago before he shifted back over to Sony, was he was saying about, sort of his G9 setup with essentially his 25mm Leica lens, how small and compact it was, and that sort of rang around a bit, and that's where I ended up moving over. Even now, I still sort of think, the full frame, it was very good, but I've enjoyed this so much more because I'm not in pain. I'm not suffering from, sort of epic sort of walks with stupid heavy gear. That bit has gone away. It's really, really quite nice. And obviously, yes, today we're out in Filey. We're not just on the seafront because frankly it's too bright and too breezy, too many people there. So we're sort of just wandering around, a bit of woodland up into the front, possibly do a little bit of streetish style stuff. So actually I've just put the 12-100 on. It's a good all-rounder lens, it's not too heavy, and it works well with just having it on the side strap. So that's what I've gone for, and it's given me the versatility. Just made, if I'd gone still in sort of the full frame realms, even going mirrorless, which is much lighter, I'd still be way heavier than what I've got now. So you might think, well, if you have a Z7 with the 24-200, it's the same weight as near as damn it. And yeah, it is very, very close to it. But what you don't get with that is the fixed aperture. like I do with this. So it's a little bit more versatile, and that then will put me back into the full frame realm. So if I want to do my wildlife, I'd have to go out to get the equivalent to what I got with Big White, something that's going to be, what, 5 or 6 kilograms setup plus. And if I want the same sort of quality as what Big White, I'm looking 13-14 grand for just for the lens, which yeah, that kind of goes against what I was looking at. So looking at the bigger picture, full frame for me wasn't the way to stick with. It was more I needed to move towards this lighter weight setup with Mark IV thirds, which give me more options. So, what we're doing today, obviously we're wandering around. Like I say, coastal, it's not going to work today. It's not the right conditions for it whatsoever. Even at sunrise at sort of the lower tide this morning, we were looking at 45-mile-an-hour winds. That really wouldn't have been fun at all. So we basically just came down to Filey, have a wander around. There'll probably be coffee stops, bit of a wander, looking at different bits and bobs. Bluebells are still around, so that's a bit of fun. A little bit of the architecture of the buildings. Bit of everything, which is what this setup is perfect for. You can get a bit of absolutely everything without, worry about, I'm going to have the right aperture. Is it too big and bulky? Yeah, this isn't bad at all. I mean, like I say, that's about 1,300 grams all in, which that's not bad at all. If I really wanted to go crazy, I could go with one of my small lenses, something like the 12 to 50, which is around about 180 grams, still weather sealed. Still not bad. It's not fixed aperture, but it's still a great little walk around lens. So I'll go completely mad again. 45mm, stupidly light, great quality. Even if you're sort of looking at going, to my other side, like the 25mm Leica, again, it's not quite as light, about 250 grams, but even so, you're looking at well under a kilogram for your setup. That's your versatility you don't get on the full frame, which is what I went for this side, more than sort of going back into the full frame mirrorless setup. Yeah, there's still people out there that argue it's better. There's still people that argue that, the OM1 is quite a big body. It is, it's a good chunky body. I've not got small hands though, so I don't want something that's like too tiny. It's all about sort of the compromise and how I'm willing to sort of work with it to give me the best results with the best experience. As I've said many times, for me photography should be fun. It's about the enjoyment factor, that this is something that gets me out and about and gives me a release from sort of the work that I do, which is heavy graft, manual mechanicking. So this is something completely different, and for me it's got to be enjoyable. So having something that's versatile and powerful really was key for me sort of doing the switch. Obviously, it's not for everybody, I will admit that. Some people just won't get on with it at all. But for me, it's been the perfect combo of lightweight, power, and versatility with all the different lenses that are available. After a few years of using this setup now, I'm sort of beginning to sort of see a lot more of the benefits. I can spend a weekend out. I don't end up with like wrists that are completely throb or anything like that. If I'm out with Big White, I can only really do a day at a time. I'm looking at different ways of carrying that to actually help me out a little bit more. But definitely it's something that I've got to be mindful about. Sounds a little bit cliche, but I'm not getting any younger, and certainly with all the sort of the ailments that you tend to get with age, and the fact that I completely broke my body a few years ago, and this is something I'm going to have to live with now. It's not going to get any better. It's something I've got to take into account. So even sort of this being a lighter system, I've still got to restrict myself sometimes, because other than the fact I would love to be out and about with, doing the wildlife so much more, I can't actually do that. That's something that, ever do it. Well, I did it last weekend, 3 days in a row, and for 3 days afterwards, I could feel it wasn't bad, but I could feel I've been sort of lumping, a bit more weight around. It's not massive weight in comparison to some of the full frame guys that I saw last weekend. There was a guy there with his Canon, and I think it might have been the 500 mil that it got, but it was like a monumental thing. And literally, he was struggling to actually just carry it around, let alone shoot with it. So he was carrying a tripod as well. I just looked at him and thought, I kind of made the right choice there. As I said, it's about enjoyment. It's about going out and having fun with your camera setup. If I was out there making money on this, it might be slightly different. But because this for me is a fun hobby that I'll bring you along with, it's got to be an enjoyable experience. I'd like it if it wasn't quite so windy today. That would be fantastic. But it is what we've been given. We're coming up to another bank holiday weekend, so obviously the weather's turning bad, so that's what happens. So we'll probably end up doing a lot of street work tomorrow, I would have thought, where we've got lots of opportunities to dive in and out of a cafe. Very important. Always good to plan it in. So hopefully the wind's not too bad on the mic. And you can hear me okay. But yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is it something that you think, if you were in my position, you would have also done? Would you have actually made the shift away from a full frame setup, even going into the full frame mirrorless, to actually sort of stick to what effectively was historically seen as not quite professional? I don't know where all that came from, unless it is just from the full frame manufacturers trying to peddle their wares above something else because it's got a smaller sensor. Same thing with the megapixel race. This has got 20 megapixels on it. If I want to, I can sort of bump that up to 80, running the high res shot. But for the work I do, 20 megapixel is absolutely ample. Even doing the wildlife stuff, it's not a problem. You frame things properly, it comes out nicely. There seems to be a bit of a thing where, sort of a lot of people that do wildlife, they literally just want to sort of zoom in. They've got everything to fill in the frame. For me, I like to do a bit more sort of, I'd almost kind of term it sort of landscape wildlife. So you've actually got a composition with the bird and stuff like that. That's why I like the blurred out background. So it tells a bit more of a story of what you've got. It's just me. What do you think? Is it something that you think you'd be able to sort of work with as well? Have you already switched to Mark 4/3? If you have, fantastic. Let me know what your experiences are. Obviously, I shifted to Olympus and then OMSystem when the buyout happened. David Flower, he's done a lot of work with Lumix. I know a lot of other people, sort of swear by the Lumix setups, but they've literally only just switched to phase detect autofocus, which for me was key, especially doing the wildlife. The phase detect autofocus, especially in here with the AI focusing, it makes such a difference. I know I can lock onto a bird, and even if it loses it, it'll sort of track it and bring it back in as soon as it sees it back in frame. It's almost voodoo what it can do. It really is fantastic. I mean, yes, you've got stuff like the new Nikon Z8, which has got that sort of stuff in there. But then you've got the massive weight, and we're back in the same cycle again. So, that's where we are with it. But I'm going to leave the video here, pop a few more shots up now as we're wandering around, because it keeps on trying to rain, typically, because it's stupidly high winds. There's rain coming and going. So, I want to get the Osmo put away if I can. But a few more shots as we're wandering around. This is going to be a complete mixed bag. This is more about me having a nat at you than taking the shot, so I'm just out with the camera having a bit of a play. But if you've enjoyed the video and it's something you've got a bit of input, drop a comment below, hit the like button, really helps out, and hit subscribe free of charge, but helps out no end. But from a very windy and occasionally wet, but quite fun Filey in East Yorkshire, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Take care.
Born over a fault line, bad teeth and worse habits. should have it. Cracking like a glacier. Any semblance of restraint. Simple observations of a tired out complaint. I get in my own way. 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 Amplify washes. Glass up in the sand. Panning through the static for the sound of the fan. Underneath the bleachers, on the fringes of the game, chanting